second.
It's alright, it's alright. I could do the intro if you want.
No, it's fine. It's telling me it was deleted on Facebook for some reason. So
Oh,
we're
that's
just
weird.
on. It looks like we're just on YouTube tonight by the looks of things.
Ah,
So there
maybe
we go.
it's alright,
Anyway,
it's alright.
folks, welcome back to the show. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Wednesday. It's Pro Wrestling Weekly. Myself and Russ are on your screens. Mini Kebab Overlord. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing alright. I'm very, very much looking forward to tonight as I go see Deadpool and Wolverine at a midnight release.
Nice. I got a couple of messages in last week wondering where I found the third Young Buck to do the podcast with
Oh,
me.
come on.
There you go. There you go. It's all good at the moment. It's all good at the moment.
Fair enough, fair
Um,
enough. I've got a long piece of hair,
yeah,
just randomly.
yeah. But folks, if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, and drop a like on the video, we'd really appreciate it. We have a good show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about Blood and Guts. We're going to be talking about SummerSlam, how it's shaping up. We've an update on the Motor City Machine Guns. We're certainly going to be talking a certain man, but we're not going to mention his name yet, Russ, because if he mentions his name, he might just appear. So we better wait.
As it
We're going
says
to
in my caption.
There you go. We're going to be talking about Will Ospreay versus MJF Dynamite 250. Classic stuff. We're going to an update on CM Punk in relation to his contract. And a few other bits and pieces in between and some history and stuff like that as well. And as always in the chat, you can drive the show as well if you want to ask us anything or bring any topics up you want us to talk about. If we have seen them, of course, we will talk about them. In the chat, Sean is in. Evening, gents. I have to film a poxy football match, but I'll pop in if I'm able.
That sounds good.
Stephen's in. I thought he was ripping off his shirt at a Trump rally, and he just about made it, didn't he? He just about made it. He had his arms full stretched, and the shirt was still not popping right at the end. He had to go back and take a second bite at it. And he's going, "What has the world come to? This is now the world we live in." Jim Cornette summed it up perfectly by saying, "This is just crazy stuff at the moment.
Welcome to the
Absolute
world.
shambles. Absolute shambles." Love the profiler there, Stephen, as well. The Warriors, love it.
Oh, what a
I
great
made
movie.
it. Trumpomania and his trumpets. Trumpomania is running wild, baby. The shirts are on the way. Don't worry about that. Just to let people know in the shop as well, we got updated stock coming in. It'll be back open on Saturday. We're getting in a load of Cobra Kai stuff. We're getting in a load of Rocky Balboa stuff. I also took a delivery today of some cool Wyatt 6 shirts. So we got the one with them all on it, the sort of silhouette kind of one. And then we got the other two Wyatt 6 ones, the Let Us In one and the other one as well. So plenty of Wyatt 6 stock in store coming this Saturday. Hoping to have the new Punk shirt as well. And also hoping to have some Judgment Day stuff as well. So that should be it for this week. Next week, massive order coming in. Loads of stuff on it, including that beautiful final boss t-shirt.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there you go. So right, let's start SummerSlam, Russ. Let's kick SummerSlam into gear here. We got
Let's just.
the update from Raw. Seth Rollins, the guest referee.
Right. I just want to say about this match, I think it would be fantastic if it was a double countout or double disqualification to lead into a triple threat with Seth Rollins. I'm looking forward to it because to me this will probably be the best match of the card because of the stupid amount of build it's had. So that better steal the show. Because if you're going to build up for what, how long? Like 6 months? Like 6-7 months now it's been? Pretty much since the Royal Rumble. For this big CM Punk match and it doesn't steal the night. Something's gone wrong.
Yeah, let's see what happens. But certainly,
Mm.
good card, good solid card. Not too much filler in it or anything like that. Bailey versus Nia should be okay. I'm really looking forward to Liv versus Rhea. This is kind of an interesting build up to this. Dom after passing her off, but a lot of people thinking this is just a game plan that he could leave the building in Cleveland with Liv Morgan at the end of the night. What's your thoughts on this? And obviously, we seen the post from Rhea the other day. Jey
Mm.
Uso out having waffles or breakfast or whatever it is.
It's Waffle
Um,
House.
yeah, there you go. What's your thinking on how this one's gonna go?
Right. If they're going to be building up to a turn with Dom and Rhea, don't feel like Dom's going to turn. I think Rhea's going to turn. Because I think it's going to be a case of mistrust with Dom. So Dom reluctantly goes for Liv. And Rhea then turns kind of face and joins forces with Jay. It could go one of two ways, but I do agree that Dom will either be turned on or turn against Rhea at SummerSlam. Just because I don't feel like having Liv Morgan win the belt at, what was it, King and Queen of the Ring?
No, didn't she win it on them?
Yeah, no, it was King and Queen of the Ring because she beat Becky Lynch.
Yes, sorry, you're right.
Yeah, I don't feel like having her win only for her to lose in her first major title defense. Because I feel like that's where we messed up with her first world title, with her first women's championship reign. Just immediately going from, yes, finally she's champion, I'll beat her nobody, then I'll just lose to Ronda Rousey. Because, yeah, why not? So I feel like Liv should win. However, it could go one or two ways, but I'd feel like the Women's World Championship is a kind of a side story right now, especially in that feud with Dom.
Yeah,
I
I
feel like
think
Dom's the main part.
yeah, I think Liv's going to retain the belt. I do. I think she will, and I actually think she should. But it'll be interesting to see how they book this. Is it going to be a cluster, or is it going to be well thought out and stuff like that? We'll see what happens. Um, LA Knight versus Logan Paul, US
Oh,
belt.
US champion. Yeah. Saying it. I'm
Sounds
saying
good,
it.
doesn't it?
Yes. Logan Paul's had a great run, an absolutely fantastic run, and we were speaking about this last week. If he does drop the belt at SummerSlam, where does he go after that? Do you think we're going to get, I don't know, maybe a redemption arc with him maybe forming a faction? Or will it be a case of Logan Paul's just going to be one of those names that you now draw fans in, like a Roman Reigns type thing?
Yeah, I think probably it feels like they need the belt back there now on a regular basis, doesn't it? There's kind
Yeah.
of a void there, isn't there, at the moment? And then just bring Logan Paul in as a special bump for some of the bigger PLEs and stuff like that. I think
Hmm.
that's the way it's going to go. Daz was in actually. Sorry, he reckons Kenny and Copeland could be back all in. So we'll see what happens there. And Stephen, the Wyatt Six thing is getting a bit dragged on. It is. The only thing is, I'd say, at least this week we seen one of them in the ring, and he actually did a wrestling move or two. So it's not too bad. At least we're slowly and steady wins the race by the looks of this thing.
Well, just think about how Uncle Howdy was first booked when he first came onto the scene with Bray Wyatt. He did one thing and then we didn't see him afterwards. It, at
Yeah,
least he's getting something. Like
yeah.
I do agree the Wyatt Six is getting a little bit dragged on. It should be a case of, right, you know what? I've seen you do this. I've seen you do that. Why don't we finally do it in the ring? That's
Mm,
how it should be. I feel like if we're
yeah.
just gonna completely skip over SummerSlam and do it at whatever, what's after SummerSlam?
Good question.
Whatever's after SummerSlam, like a B pay per view.
October is Bad Blood, isn't it? They're bringing Bad Blood
Yeah,
back, aren't they?
yeah, but I think there was something in September,
Yeah.
surely. Well, anyway,
Night of Champions or something, is our Vengeance or something?
yeah,
One
yeah,
of one
like
of those anyway. So,
like
um,
Night of Champions. Payback's no longer payback; it's WrestleMania payback.
yeah,
I don't know,
yeah,
but yeah,
we
I
shall
just
see anyway.
yeah,
Um,
agreed.
um, Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. I cannot wait for Braun Breaker to fold this guy in two.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steiner privilege.
I love it. I love it.
Steiner privilege. That's all that's happening here. Steiner privilege.
Can't wait for it. Can't wait
Al-
for it.
Although there is a little bit of a thing going around that the reason why Braun won the match was because Ilya got knocked out during the match and couldn't continue it. So they might have messed up a little bit and kind of changed it on the fly, saying, right, just do Braun v Sammy again.
I
I
think it
don't
was going to lead.
think.
It was going to lead to that anyway, wasn't it? Because the first match was a bit kind of
Yeah, I
weird.
feel like it was either going to lead to Braun and Sammy again or a triple threat.
Triple threat, yeah.
Yeah, where Braun wouldn't beat Sammy, he'd beat Ilya.
Yeah, maybe Sammy drops the belt, and then if things unfold in the main event, you get Sammy Uso or Sammy Usi coming back or something like that.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens there. Let's talk obviously Priest versus Gunter. Priest with a big performance to put out here now. He's had a couple of iffy performances to say the least. Kind
Mhm.
of running out of excuses now. This needs to be a big performance against Gunter, doesn't he? Or he could find himself without the belt.
Yeah, 100%. See, this match is going to be one of those like big money matches anyway. Gunther, as much as I don't like him, I don't really like his style of wrestling. I feel like this is going to be a make or break moment for him. If he can get over in this in the world championship seat, which let's be honest, he already is, but if he can actually take it and then maybe elevate it like he did the IC, then it's just going to be amazing, and we're going to see this rise of this big, almost Brock Lesnar esque beast. But if he loses, to me, he loses all credibility. Because if you hype someone up that much, only to have them lose, what's the point? It's one of the
Yeah,
reasons why I found Roman Reigns, like, he's universal and he's undisputed title reign. As long as it was and historical as it was, it got dull like halfway through the reign because we're like, yeah, we know he's not going to lose, and you're putting all these people against him who realistically should win because they are ridiculously over, but they're just going to lose and it's going to become a trivia question.
mm,
And it's just going to seem a little bit ridiculous to have something like that again. But we'll
yeah.
see how it goes.
Let's talk main event. Cody versus Solo. Daz is in. He reckons. Do you think Roman Reigns and cost Cody will Roman Reigns return and cost Cody the title?
No,
I think it cost Solo the title if he returns.
he will
Um,
cost Solo,
mm,
and a lot of people are having speculation about Roman's return. I used to, oh, sorry, I don't used to. I watch a YouTube channel called I think it's Parts Unknown or Wrestle Talk, and they do a series called What Three Words or the Three Count, where they predict like SummerSlam,
mm,
and one of them said saves Cody Rhodes.
mm,
So maybe Cody retains, and the numbers get enough against him that Roman actually comes out and spears everybody.
mm.
So saves Cody and also tells Solo to watch his back.
Kenny's in. We have to be getting Roman return at SummerSlam. Cody versus Solo doesn't scream Big Four main event.
Yes, I agree, but I also disagree. Because I feel like the way that right now, the new bloodline, the way they're going, this should have been a main event because this just shows that they're going to try and push Solo Sikoa to be the next tribal chief or potentially the next Roman Reigns. If all this is just winning big set for a Roman return, then fine by me. But it also does that. It does double duty where it's like this could be the new tribal chief. This could be the new feared top heel of SmackDown, and also is the actual real top heel of SmackDown.
Mm.
It's like it's that double duty thing where it's like we can make this guy the top heel, but we also kind of need our real top heel back. So it's just one of
Mm.
those things. It's a big mix.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I'm
Oh,
kind of
agreed.
thinking I'm kind of thinking at the moment if that was Cody versus Jacob Fatu, that would stink of Big Four main event. It would
Oh,
be
agreed.
classic. And the thing about it is, I like the way Solo is developing at the moment. I know it's slow and steady, but they kind of did that with Roman as well. If you remember how they progressed him and how he developed and all, but it's certainly going to be interesting to see what happens around that main event and how it all unfolds. Um, but certainly really looking forward to it. But we did do a thing there, didn't we? 100 days of Cody Rhodes there, wasn't it, being champion? And we were
Mm-hmm.
kind of where most people were happy for him to get in, win the belt, finish the story, have the main event, have the WrestleMania moment. It's kind of been a little bit kind of box ticking since then, hasn't
Mm-hmm.
it? And that's how we kind of felt about it. So he needs a kind of a big win that will carry on into it. Either it depends what way they're going to go with this bloodline stuff, because if Cody retains the belt and then the Bloodline are just going against each other, like we talked about Bloodline 1 or 2 or whatever way they're going to call it, Bloodline original versus new Bloodline or whatever. It leaves Cody kind of out here on the wind with the belt and who he's going to feud with. And we've obviously spoke about Randy Orton and various other people that he could feud with and stuff like that, but I get the feel that once they trigger this bloodline thing potentially, that's going to take over the show. That's going to be the main focus for people. Um,
Agreed.
and I think maybe there's a potential there for the belt becoming kind of secondary to the show and stuff like that, which is the real fear, you know.
Well, I kind
Um,
of feel like we got that with the Roman Reigns storyline as well, and the whole thing with the bloodline. There was so many stories involved during the bloodline that the title was almost secondary, and it
mm,
shouldn't have been secondary. It should have
yeah,
been right. We're going to do this because the tribal chief is the world champion. But then we
yeah,
got the Usos breaking up and the bloodline civil war, and the title took a back seat. Because aside from what WrestleMania and SummerSlam, I can't think of a
mm.
time that Roman Reigns defended the belt after Money in the Bank 2022 for the rest of 2022.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it was very protected, wasn't it? He was always caught up in some sort of an angle within some sort of an angle of a match, and it wasn't really. And even week on week, it was rarely a title. There was rarely a title thing. It was always like a tag match or a handicap match or a non-title match or some sort of angle to hold on to the belt kind of thing. So,
also, it was 2023, not 2022. My apologies.
yeah. Drow was a big up, Drow. Thanks for joining us tonight. Love the profile picture. Cody defeating Solo at SummerSlam would be a right choice. Certainly be an interesting choice. Certainly be an interesting choice.
But will
But
he? But the question is, will he defeat him via interference or on his
yeah,
own?
and if it is that interference, then does it weaken Cody as champion? Does it make it look weak? That kind of way, or does he come out of it still strong? Big up, Drow
Well,
from Daz.
we could say the same
And
thing about Damien Priest. Does he look weak because um, all of his title defenses have been because of interference? Yes.
mm,
Will it make
yeah.
Cody look weak? I'd say if it's only once, no. Like once in a blue moon, fine. But if it's every single match that he has, very very similar to Roman Reigns, it
Mm.
just don't make it look like a good champion.
Yeah,
Don't
Ace
look
was in.
dominating enough.
Liv Morgan retains with Dominic turning on Mammy. Interesting. Drew McIntyre will beat CM Punk. I don't think that's going to be that clear cut.
No, 100%. It's not going to be like that.
I
It's not going
don't
to be
think.
a Claymore 1, 2, 3.
Oh, interesting. Ace was just calling for a Tiffany cash in. Tiffany cash
Yes,
in on Bailey.
yes,
Bailey
but
will
not on
retain.
Bailey.
No. Well, it would be if Bailey retains.
I think
Nia gets the belt and Tiffany cashes in.
yeah, but I feel
Interesting.
like we'd get a 2021 Money in the Bank situation where he cashes in, but the only reason why they cash in is to put the belt on another person.
Mm,
And it's like, hey,
interesting.
it's like, here you go, they've won the belt. Now give it to the person who we truly want.
Mm. Damian Priest will retain versus Walter. I think we were saying that, weren't we, that they might trigger something, maybe a Bash in Berlin or something. Cody Rhodes will retain with Roman Empire return. Yeah. And we're going to go into, we'll get into Blood and Guts shortly. Don't worry about that. Join darker side of Trump. Absolutely. Yeah, so that's it. So we'll bring you a full roundup actually next week, because next week we're going to be right on the road. We're going to be basically in Cleveland at that stage, aren't we? Because it's
Yeah.
not this weekend, it's next weekend, isn't it? So it's going to come up
Mm-hmm.
pretty quick anyway. So let's move on then. Let's talk about before we get into Blood and Guts. Good news I've been hearing on these boys. I expressed my concern when I heard they were going to AEW. I was quite disappointed. I've been a fan of both guys, both as singles competitors in the X division and that kind of stuff, but also as a tag team, absolutely fantastic.
Am I correct
Big
in
fan
saying
of
the
them.
one on the right is Chris Sabin?
Chris Sabin, yeah, and left is Alex Shelley.
That's the one. Right, thank you.
Motor City Machine Guns. So I'm really looking forward to it. I hope the news is right. I hope they are going into WWE. Love to see them down in NXT first, see what they can do, and then come up and absolutely I hope they build that tag division this year and really bring a bit of credibility to it, proper credibility. You know, I'd really love to see the Judgment Day versus the Machine Guns. Has that kind of New Japan feel to it, you know, that real rollback and stuff like that and all, you know. So it could be really, really cool, but great news all the same. Kenny's in. Bailey will beat Nia, but Tiffany will cash in after Nia squashes Bailey with the thought her new best friend will give her a title shot. Good shout. Good shout, Kenny. Finger on the pulse there, my friend. I like that. It would make sense, actually, because if she cashes in on Nia, Nia will still be quite strong if she wins the belt. She won't be like, you know, it won't be like an easy cash in, you know. Whereas if Nia destroys Bailey, you know, or something like that, or if Bailey wins but Nia absolutely destroys her, it could be a much easier cash in for Tiffany, you know. We'll see what happens anyway, what way they put there. Ian's in, what allegiance to the Samoan family does Tama Tonga and Tama Tonga and it should be Tangaloa have? Um, well, they're both. I have to think
Is
about this all the time. They're
Umaga, I believe.
Umaga. Umaga, yeah.
Yeah, I know Jacob Fatu's. Oh my. No,
No, Jacob Fatu is Umaga's son, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, Jacob Fatu is Umaga's son. Yeah. TNA Slammiversary was decent pay per view. It was interesting surrounding the title though. Um, with
I
it,
think the wrong person won.
I,
If
I,
I'm
I,
being really honest.
yeah, I think you're probably right if we didn't see the development of him in NXT. And I think probably from that point of view, I think looking at the way things are developing, and we're going to talk about him, um, he's definitely NXT and WWE bound, isn't he? Full time, I'd say shortly. Sorry, that's right. They're Haku's sons.
That's the one,
I
Haku.
couldn't think of the name. They're Haku's sons. And Haku is their dad. There you go. What a family. What a family. Royalty when it comes to wrestling. Dolph Ziggler deserved it. Yeah, it's not necessarily that he deserved it. I think it was probably the right choice, because of the way other parts within the match are developing and stuff like that. I think if Joe Hendry was just still more or less full time TNA and he wasn't rocking up on NXT and WWE and stuff like that, I think then it would make sense maybe because he's so over. And we're going to be talking about him shortly
Agreed.
as well.
The only thing that I've got right now against Nick Nemeth, or formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, winning the belt, is that I feel like, or well, not feel like, I fear we're going to go down the path of Austin Aries and Kenny Omega again, where he's going to become this big belt collector and win as many belts as possible. Right now, we do not need that, especially in TNA and especially all over the indies.
Yeah.
Like, I get that Dolph Ziggler's a really, really talented wrestler. He's finally getting his flowers and he's being this world champion. But I also feel like we don't need to have another Austin Aries situation where there's got so many belts that he can't even hold them. Like we
Mm.
don't need that. So many companies have absolutely fantastic workers that should be world champion, but they want to give it to the former WWE guy because why not? They've done it before. It's just a bit silly to me.
Yeah, it tends to be the normal path for these things, doesn't it? Because I mean, if you're an independent promotion out there and you're going to bring Nick Nemeth in, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, you're probably going to want to raise the profile of your belt by maybe putting it on him.
Mm.
But just see how that lies and stuff like that. I know he's over next month here for Scrapper Mania, so I will be doing a review. Be doing a preview of that show with Sean in the next week or so. We'll get him on as soon as he's available, and we'll chat about that OTT Scrapper Mania. It's coming up. Looks like it's going to be a good event. Um, I seen that Aces, but I haven't looked at it yet. To be honest, I just haven't had the chance of being flat out. But yeah, no, it's certainly an interesting one. We're also going to talk about Let's talk about CM Punk. Talk about his contract
Yes.
today. This is from WrestleMania. Brilliant graphic that they put together. Then, now, forever. Looks class. Certainly the evolution of this man, as they say. I would think he's looking for a contract. He wants like a kind of a lifelong contract in WWE. He's obviously enjoying it in there. It's the right environment. He's mended a lot of bridges. He's fixed up a lot of stuff. He seems to be enjoying his work. He was unfortunate with the tricep injury at the Rumble, but there's plenty of opportunity there. But the only thing about it is he kind of like maybe he sometimes needs to be protected from himself because he wants to actually start doing house shows. He wants to get involved in everything. And I'm thinking, you just need to be so careful, because there has been a number of injuries there, and he is at a certain age now and stuff like that. And you really need him fit and available to wrestle. But I think they should just use him, not sparingly, but use him for more profile kind of stuff. And but I'm not too sure. I don't know. WWE. Wonder, Russ, what's your thoughts on this? Would they be a little bit hesitant to give him a lifelong contract?
Well, you see, if I were WWE right now, right, and especially around CM Punk, I would try and keep him for as long as possible because CM Punk's probably one of the biggest draws they still got. And like you were saying about how they should use him like very sparingly and only use him for like big pay per views and whatnot. I feel like as much as a good call that would be, he should have a talent and a management contract because I feel like when Shawn Michaels says, right, that's it, I'm done, I feel like CM Punk would be an absolutely amazing shout to take over developmental because he's had to go through the developmental, he's had to go through OVW, through ECW, through Ring of Honor. What was he in OVW? Or am I thinking of someone else?
No, he was he in OVW? Yes, he would have been in OVW, wouldn't he?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So he's gone through all this developmental stuff, and he's got the like experience of going through developmental and being there in the big leagues, going from something like a developmental talent. That to me, that's a perfect example of put this guy in charge of the next generation of superstars. Think of like the influence right now he's currently got on Roxanne Perez. He's absolutely amazing, and if they want to put him as management and talent, be my guest. I feel like that would be the best port of call for him, especially with the idea of him controlling a certain aspect of WWE. Because he's gone all over the place. I mean, he's running AEW one exactly the greatest. He's more known for his real fights, we'll call it, but I feel like they know him and it feels like home to him. So this should be where he stays, both as a talent and as a management. Just whatever you do, do not turn him into another Paul Heyman because we don't need another Paul Heyman. We need the current CM Punk.
Absolutely. Hey, says Vince McMahon refused Phil Brooks' idea of spray paint WWE Championship after Survivor Series victory against Alberto Del Rio. Yeah, I don't know what this. I'm not too sure about that. I wouldn't be too bothered by it. Yeah, look, I think I just mentioned there it's a legend contract. I think the legend contract is guaranteed anyway, but I don't think this is what he's pushing for. I think he's in negotiations at the moment because he wants a different contract to the legends contract. I think he wants a bit more than that. I don't think he wants to float around and show up every so often for a raw 300th episode throwback type thing and all. That I think he wants a little bit more than that. And as you said, it might be a case of being like a head trainer down in the performance center or some sort of agent backstage or whatever it is, an ambassador but a proper ambassador, with an actual day-to-day kind of role or something like that, but we
Well,
shall see.
yeah, well,
So,
think about the stories that Mark Henry has got about people like Bianca Belair, like Jade Cargill. Who was the other one? Or was it just Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill that he spoke about? But imagine CM Punk in a role like that. Like I just said, he's gone through the Indies, he's gone in Ring of Honor, he's gone in AEW, like they're gonna do Boss of AEW. But he's gone through all that stuff, right? And he can find talent that he maybe like, yeah, okay, put them in developmental, give me a couple months with them, and I can get them up and I can train them up. Right? He's that guy, and I do believe that if they don't take the opportunity, then God knows what's going to happen. I think him, and then when his time's up, Seth Rollins, both
yeah.
of them two, should be like talent scouts because they've
I
gone
think,
through it all.
do you know what it is as well? I think he has a lot to offer in relation to the time when he walked away from the business as well. Because when you look back on that time as well, a lot of the reasons why he walked away from the business were they were wrong. You know what I mean? He walked away for a lot of the wrong reasons, and he lets stuff kind of fester in the moment and all that kind of stuff. So if he can help people in those kind of situations as well, would be hugely beneficial, you know.
Oh, great.
Um,
Like,
so I think he has a lot to offer. He's a lot to offer, even about not only about the wrestling and being a mentor and all that kind of stuff, but also, you know, reasons for leaving it and not being happy and letting things get out of control, and you know, that kind of coaching as well. Look, kind of nearly like life coaching, really, as well. You know, because I'd imagine it's, you know, it's such a tough business. You know, 300 odd days on the road every year, non-stop, dealing with injuries and niggles and knocks, and you know, having to show up and having to perform and carry the weight of these titles and all that kind of stuff and all, you know. So he's been there, done that, and let it overpower him, and it came unraveled and all, and having to come back again and, you know, set things up. And you know, I suppose going to AEW and how everything unfolded there, and you know, he realized that, you know, WWE is, you know, for him, is where he needed to be in terms of the professionalism and all that kind of stuff, for right or wrong reasons or whatever it is, but that's the way it was, and he came back, you know. So it's good to have experienced that as well and be able to hand off that experience to people as well.
yeah.
Asos is in, he's talking about Netflix wants Cody Rhodes on Raw in 2025. Interesting. Interesting.
I feel like Cody
Um,
being on SmackDown's the better option. Right now, anyway.
yeah.
We've,
Although
we've
again,
probably got
as we
people.
said, the way things are unfolding at the moment, you know, and if we believe Roman coming back, I mean, he'll eventually want to move on to the road back to the belt. And if he does a suit then for Cody to go on to Raw and, you know, be world heavyweight champion or something like that, or find himself in a position similar to that, maybe. I don't know.
Hmm.
We'll see anyway. But, you know, if Netflix are spending that money, they'll get what they want. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Let's talk about Dynamite, 250th episode. What a match this was. I don't know if you caught it, Russ. It was absolutely
I,
fantastic.
yeah, I did.
Um,
Props for MJF for sure.
yeah. But I like this is comment. I'm on a stairmaster for 2 hours daily. That's the difference between me, Will Ospreay. I'm a real athlete. He's a fucking gymnast. Very, very cutting and very unfair. I'm sure Will Ospreay spends plenty of time on a stairmaster as well, looking at the way he can go in the ring and stuff like that. You know, that's
Yeah,
not the kind of cardio that you're blessed with. That's the kind of cardio you have to earn.
agreed. Right. I have both have a problem and don't problem with MJF. I love MJF. I love his character. I love how cocky he is. He reminds me of I'd say Triple H. You know, like when he was with the Evolution. Whereas, like, you
Flair.
know, it's, yeah, Flair, yeah. Whereas, like, oh, it's all about me, right? I'm the best at this and I'm the best at that. Nobody can touch me. I like it. I do really, really like it. And I also love the fact that he keeps kayfabe.
Mm,
Just, he's an amazing wrestler, and especially outside of the ring, he
mm.
just keeps everything up. But I don't feel like we should have put the international championship on him just yet.
Yeah, I wonder. I'm just wondering, is there something there? I'm wondering, is Will carrying a knock or an injury or something like that, or is there something happening? You know, look, we know when MJF came back, we know in the way he exited the building and had to drop the title and stuff like that and all, it was kind of a bit crap. So we knew when he came back, he was going to find himself a gold around his waist again. It just depended on where it was. I think the way this has kind of come about, because I didn't expect him to go after this title. I think in the way it's come about leads me to believe that maybe Osprey's carrying something, and maybe he's going to maybe go into All In, and I reckon after All In, I reckon Osprey might need a break or something like that. Maybe he has to go for surgery, or maybe he's carrying an injury or something like that. I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Is, is there a section about All In that we're talking about today?
No, we haven't put anything together yet for All In because it's all still kind of coming together and stuff like that and all, you know. So, but we'll definitely do a show on it. But literally a month away.
Yeah, but the only thing I'm going to say about it right now is I don't know, really know how I feel with Brian Danielson being in the main event against Will Strickland. I just don't know how I feel about that right now, because I was calling Daniel Bryan. Brian Danielson has openly stated that he does not want to win any of the world titles. He don't want to win anything again, and that he's going to be retiring. What, next year? Is it? either this year or next year. It's gonna be retiring really with a
Yeah,
short
they were
name.
talking about next year, all right. Which would I suppose what that would do is it would lead you to believe maybe he wants another last run with a world title, maybe before he bows out.
Yeah, but I feel like it should have been Osprey versus him, or have Osprey win the belt from Danielson. I feel like that could have been an absolutely fantastic match.
Well, maybe that's the way it might go. Maybe Danielson might win the belt at All In, and then he goes on a program with Will Ospreay, following on from the great match they had at Dynasty. Was it?
Yeah, I think it was Dynasty.
Was it Dynasty? I think it was Dynasty.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I think maybe that might be the way it might go. So we'll see what happens when we keep an eye on it. I thought the oxygen tanks and the mask were just hilarious, and like you see MJF on the ground and he's literally dying. And the next
Mm.
thing he gets up and he's trying to bring in the gas and they're dragging him around and then he goes down on the ground, he pulls the mask off and just starts talking shit. Like
Yeah.
this was great, like really
See,
good. Kenny's in.
that's why I love MJF.
Punk has been great helping with young talents like Roxanne Perez and even with Cora Jade, absolutely. With her injury, Punk will be great backstage when he hangs up the boots. Absolutely. Be interesting to see what the transition would be like, though. Absolutely. Acers, amazing match, pure wrestling. Talk the other day, the people feeling that this is one of the greatest wrestling matches ever. I think Meltzer gave it did he give it a 5.75 or a 6 or something like that? Something crazy.
Well,
Um,
all I can say is that it ain't Edge vs Randy Orton at Backlash 2020. The greatest wrestling match of all time. That
yeah.
tagline, and then it was just mediocre at best.
True. Ian is in. Spinner World title belt was a complete mockery of those former world champions that have paved way for the wrestling stars of tomorrow.
Without without that belt, right. So, hot take. That belt is probably one of the best designs, not for its design, but for who it elevated.
Yeah.
Randy Orton, John Cena, Jeff Hardy, CM Punk, The Rock, Alberto Del Rio to a certain degree. Right? Who else? Triple H. All of those won that belt, and pretty much all of them are considered the greats. The Miz in that terrible WrestleMania main event against John Cena, but he's still one of the biggest stars to this day. Everybody who's won that belt at least once, or yeah, aside from a few, are deemed legends to this day.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
it might have been a mockery of the former world champions or whatnot, but it built the stars that we got and the legends that we have today.
Absolutely. Plus, 9 times out of 10, I don't think of it as being a mockery because I associate the title, not the actual physical belt, but the actual title is the lineage and the history. The belt is just a byproduct of that. So,
My camera's gone. I'm using my laptop, so it might have to be no camera for the rest of the stream. Sorry,
yeah,
guys.
we'll work through it. MJF versus Pac International title all in Wembley, August 25. Should look forward to that. That should be interesting. That was the top. I don't think have they actually confirmed that, Aces, or were they just talking about it? Because I think that might be just talk at the moment, and it's where people think it may go. But we shall see. And Ian is in. Why do we need another world title in AEW international title? I suppose it fills in that void. It's that IC kind of title area and stuff like that as
Yeah,
well.
I feel like it's supposed to be like I I say equal to Intercontinental
Mm,
without having the actual lineage of the Intercontinental.
yeah. So that's it. Jordan's in. Big up Jordan. Good to see you on the thread there or on the show there on Monday. Hey guys, good to see you. You are banging out the content at the moment, Joe and Jack. So love it. Keep up the good work. That goes, hey Jordan. Right, let's talk. Of course, we have to mention these three, all in the club of the Austin 316 Stunner Club. All three have been stunnered. What did you make of Trump and Mania the other night?
I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't really follow American politics. Um, I do and I don't. I only pay attention when there's something big's going on, like the Trump thing that happened the other week that I'm not going to
Yeah.
mention. But when something big's happening, that's when I start paying attention. Aside from
Mm.
that, I commonly don't.
Mm.
So I don't really have any say or an opinion because I don't know what's happened. I don't know really what's going on. But aside from that, if Hulk Hogan wants to endorse Trump, let him be him. Everybody's got their own political freedom.
Absolutely. Right. Do you want to mention a certain person's name?
Oh, okay, right. I have to whisper it. Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
Holy shit! It works.
There you go. Yeah, yeah, absolutely brilliant. We're getting his concert next week, apparently. So
Oh yes.
that should be interesting.
One
Will
of the
be
best
interesting.
things about his gimmick is the songs that he gets. Is the
It'll
songs
be
that he
um
gives to his opponents.
it'll be interesting to see if his concert reaches rock levels of rock concert, if you know what I mean. Um,
I'd
but
say the
certainly we're getting.
I'd say that the one because he's very limited right now to NXT.
Mm,
Because obviously, technically, he's still under contract with TNA. I don't think it would be the correct time to say something like the rock levels of the concert and whatnot, right?
mm,
Just because he's very limited. He's over in NXT, but can he get over in the main roster? Because
mm.
this is what we saw with people like Karrion Cross. Massively over in NXT. Who's Karrion Cross in the main roster? It's just one of those things.
AIDS and Hogan Terry, it ain't WrestleMania 4, please. Love it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a little bit of footage here. This was after the NXT show the other night, as far as I know. A number of people got the bus back to the car park and they were greeted by this. So let me know what you think.
So not only did they give us posters, we're on the bus ride here, which is about 15 minutes. He put his damn poster on every car on this damn parking lot. And not only that, it's signed. It's signed by him.
Every single car.
Every single car has a signed poster. This man is putting in the damn work. So not only did they
So there you go. What'd you think of that?
And that is why Joe Hendry is over. The
Unbelievable, wasn't it?
dedication that he has to not only his character but to his fans is absolutely amazing. He will be a big feature in NXT. Not sure about the main roster, just because the NXT can be kind of goofy, and as we saw from like No Way Jose, that stuff don't really fly on the main roster. Fandango didn't really fly on the main roster. So we'll see how it goes from there. We'll see how much meme material can put him in the main roster. But
Mm,
NXT right now is absolutely on fire.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
that was just further proof that he's truly dedicated to this. And like you were saying before, it's pretty obvious that he's NXT slash WWE bound.
Mm,
So let's just kind of hope and pray that he keeps this momentum possibly going into the main roster.
mm,
I think he should go into the main roster as as an NXT champion. Regardless what it is, he should go up with an NXT championship to kind of prove to people that, okay, this is how he's utilising NXT.
yeah,
This is how we
absolutely.
will continue to utilise him.
Mm.
Give
Yeah, don't
give the
worry, Jordan.
fans.
Jack always gets a nod. Jack's always in the chat. He isn't there. He's never missed. Don't worry about that. But yeah, interesting. It was interesting, but to go that far to sign up so many of those posters for the concert and to put them on every single car and van and jeep in the parking lot, it goes to show you just how invested he is in it and stuff like that and all, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Right.
I
Let's
could.
go on. Yeah.
I was gonna say I can always get behind people who show true love and dedication to this business.
Mm,
Like I really can. MJF, like I said earlier, is a fantastic representation of that. For the simple fact of he he loves the business.
Yeah, true.
And just, yeah, he loves the business, and Joe Hendry, he respects it for what it is. Have
Yeah,
you
and
seen
I
his...
think as well to be successful in the business, you really have to do eat, sleep, and drink it, don't you? You
Oh,
can't
yeah.
like there's no off time. Um,
Well,
so
it's
there you go.
like he said in a Chris Van Vliet interview that he did recently,
Mm.
his theme song was intentionally made to be the opposite of catchy, but it still got catchy. And he was inspired from Queen's "We Will Rock You" because he wanted crowd participation, and he didn't want to like try and get it naturally. He wanted to kind of get it out there that, yeah, okay, we can do this, and that's why in his theme song he says "wave your arms from side to side" and say "I believe in Joe Hendry." It's such an amazing interview. If you haven't watched it, please watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me. Was live today, Jordan. Was live today, Niall, and we are doing an Arsenal Bournemouth pre-season watch along tonight. Make sure you drop the links in the chat, guys. If you've got links for the watch along, drop them in there if it's already set up. I didn't get to watch the show today, Jordan. I'll watch it back later. I've just been flat out all day, but I will drop in there, buddy, when I can and stuff like that. But you guys are pushing the content out at the moment, and fair play just at some ungodly hours as well. Ungodly hours. Jack, fair play to you on those hours that you're doing at the moment. Yeah, I could never do that. Uh, right, let's have a look at Blood and Guts.
Right.
Let's start off. We'll start off with the AEW Blood and Guts match. It's on tonight. So you'll catch it tonight. I think it's either midnight or 1 o'clock. Probably be 1 o'clock, I'd imagine,
Oh,
from Nashville.
well, I won't be because I'm gonna go watch something a lot better than AEW.
Yeah, you might get the tail end of it, so you might get that main event. Who
Oh
knows?
yay!
You
Oh
might be back in
yay!
time for the main event, and because you're up, who knows, you know? But
Oh,
we got the Blood and Guts match, Team Elite. So Matt and Nick Jackson, the Bucks, Jack Perry, Okada, and Hangman Page versus Team AEW. Swerve Strickland, Anthony Bones, Max Caster, Darby Allen, and Mark Briscoe.
okay. Where the fuck
Um,
did Hangman Adam Page get in this?
because he's only back, isn't he?
Yeah, he's only just come back. So I wonder why he's being slotted into the elite.
Well, he was kind of itching around it anyway, wasn't he?
Yeah, but like, I don't know.
Well, he probably makes more sense on that side of the match than he would on the AEW side of the match. That's
Yeah, I
for sure.
just Mark Briscoe, by the way, just what a person he has become. Isn't he? Isn't he Ring of Honor World Champion right now?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. He's come a long way after the unfortunate passing of his brother.
Yeah.
He's come a really long way.
What a tag team as well.
Oh yeah, the Briscoes.
Yeah, do you know, actually, I'm just thinking as well, Hangman Page in there as well. You know, he was kind of being kind of sold to us, wasn't he, as the anti AEW guy? So
Yeah,
that's why he's probably on the elite side as well. Makes sense.
yeah,
Makes
agreed.
sense.
Also,
F, go ahead.
I thought Brian Danielson was in Team AEW.
No,
I
not that
don't
I know of.
I don't know where I saw that.
Yeah. No, I think there was a lot of predictions out there and stuff like that. Now, unless I've got this wrong, but I thought there was a lot of predictions out there. There was a lot of channels predicting the card there about a week or so ago, and there was various different names there. Because actually, and the weird thing about this, and I have to bring this up as well. Do you know how long it took me to find that card?
How
About
long?
20 minutes googling and stuff like that. It took me to find the card, which is something that needs to be highlighted. You know, it's kind of
Well,
weird.
the thing is though, with AEW, right? If you compare it to WWE, a lot of people like will have the card anyway because everybody just keeps updating it, and there's so many sports
Mm,
websites like Sportscadia and stuff
yeah.
like that that will constantly have an updated card because they
Mm,
update it as soon as they hear anything. With AEW, not a lot of sports companies and not a lot of like wrestling, like anything, they don't really pay full attention to AEW, especially because this is kind of like a glorified, just bog standard show. Like
mm,
it's not a pay per view. Not a lot of people are interested in it because it's just free. It's just free TV.
yeah.
So
Maybe could be the case. The FTW champion Chris Jericho defends against Minoru Suzuki. Brian Keith and Big Bill of the Learning Tree will be banned from ringside.
Oh god.
Um, this is a Jericho retention all day, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I would have thought so.
I feel like Chris Jericho right now.
Hmm.
I just can't get behind him. I just can't.
Yeah, it's just it's the interesting thing as well. I was listening to Cornette and Brian Lass as well. They were talking about the ratings and how the ratings move through the quarters and stuff like that. And it's mad how they change, and they lose an awful lot of people as they move from quarter to quarters and stuff like that, and how they can't hold on to those people and build to them rather than lose them. And a lot of it sometimes is triggered around that. But yeah, it should be interesting as well. I was a fan, I would say, of Minoru Suzuki. Now it's a bit aged at this stage. That's why I think
Mm.
they call him Grandpa sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I feel like so I know like the big difference between AW and WWE is that there's not a lot of like long term storytelling and stuff like that. But I genuinely feel like AEW need to like it's good as an alternative, but then again, an alternative also needs to be interesting.
mm,
If you're gonna try and beat the big one, then you need to have something to keep people coming, because well, I haven't really caught up with AEW, but from the looks of things, the only thing that's actually a continuity of last week's episode is MJF.
mm.
It's
Jack
just
said, is there a show tomorrow with Dazzler? There is 9 o'clock. We'll have the normal 9 o'clock show. I just haven't had to set it up yet. I'll set it up in the morning, but it will be there. Yeah, but myself and Daz will be on tomorrow night at 9. No hassle. Jordan, I'm just gonna fly through this tonight, right? Because I have to get back. I need to be off in about 20 minutes or so or less because I have to get back to the dogs. Do you do wrestling, Jordan? Do you like wrestling? If you do, I like WWE, Jack. We will get you on, Jordan. We'll get you on next week if you like on next Wednesday show, and we'll have a chat about WWE and stuff like that. We'll get your predictions and all for SummerSlam if you want to
oh
take a
yeah,
look this week and stuff like that. Um, Debut of the Glamour Mariah May, I should say.
she's
This
the
will
one
this
that
will have
turned
Tony
heel.
Storm. Yeah, she's the one that turned on Tony, didn't she?
Yeah.
So we get some sort of a melee there, probably leading, culminating with a match, probably at All In, I'd say. That's where they lay down the groundwork. We're also going to get a promo segment from MJF. That's sure to be interesting, no doubt about it.
Oh
And
yeah, agreed.
then we're rounded out with Dr. Britt Baker back versus Shida, Hikaru Shida, which will be an interesting match as well. Again, I think all roads lead to All In, and I think we're going to get the Doctor versus Mercedes Monet. I think that's the way that will go by the looks of things. So
Sick of
that's
hearing that now. It's actually everywhere, and it's just infuriating.
yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting anyway. We'll see. So I am really looking forward to seeing when Britt Baker and Mercedes Monet do lock up and stuff like that. Two absolute, you know, power females in wrestling in terms of AEW, world of AEW and stuff.
Yeah,
So it'll
but
be interesting to see what way that pans out and how it is booked.
yeah,
Because
we
it looks
both
like
know
that
who's
would
gonna
be the
win.
way. Yeah.
We both know who's gonna win.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether it'll be that straightforward because I think for these two, I think they could feud for a while, and I think if you got wins back and forward and stuff like that, it would build for a better situation. And I think both of them would be aware of that as well. Um, because remember when Britt Baker did go out originally when she went out on injury and stuff like that, she was flying really high at the time and stuff like that. So she's been a huge loss to AEW in her time she's been out. And she's not coming back just to play second fiddle to Mercedes Moné, I would imagine.
Yeah,
I
but
think
that's
she,
not exactly her choice since Mercedes Bonet has creative control in the contract.
mm,
It's just a bit stupid, if you ask me.
yeah, we shall see. We shall see. It'll be interesting
Hopefully,
anyway.
agreed.
It'll be nice to have her in there against. I did, Jack. Did you see the Argent under 23 match today? No, mental, mental stuff. Mental stuff. Crazy. Crazy. We'll be talking about it tomorrow night, Jack. Don't worry. Amongst other things. Right. Will we take a bit of history?
That's okay with me.
Let's take a bit of history. Unless you've nothing else to add or anything you want to add in or anything at the moment, no?
Just say his name and he appears.
Absolutely, as always. Right, so let's take a bit of history. In 1984, a match that I actually watched, Tully Blanchard defeated Magnum TA in Charlotte, North Carolina to win the NWA United States Championship. And of course, the rest is history. 1995, at an event in Tampa, Florida, Dean Malenko defeated the late great Eddie Guerrero to win the ECW World Television Championship. 1996, we had Lex Luger, Randy Savage, and Sting defeated the Four Horsemen members. I'll give you the members now. You wouldn't guess them. Arn Anderson, Steve McMichael, and Chris Benoit in the main event of WCW Monday Nitro from the MGM Studios in Orlando, Florida. There
Well,
you go.
that's a name I'd never thought here again.
There you go. 2001. One of WWF's most notable and historic pay-per-views took place in Cleveland, Ohio. Had to put this in, of course, because that's where we're heading next week. Invasion featured wrestlers from WWF, ECW, and the recently purchased WCW, and was a pivotal event in the Invasion storyline, as if you believe it.
No.
What a disaster that whole thing was. The event drew the highest pay-per-view buy rate of 770,000 in North America for a WWE in a non-WrestleMania event. Big numbers, big expectation. Failed to deliver, I would say. That's how I would describe it. Really, really. If there was one thing I could go back apart from going back in time and avoiding the Chris Benoit, the Eddie Guerrero situation, all that kind of stuff, and Warrior, would be to go back and redo the Invasion and stuff like that. I thought they really missed. They left so many millions of dollars on the floor there that they didn't pick up from booking it badly.
I'd argue that NXT and TNA right now probably could do another Invasions and have it be better, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now we know, obviously. I mean, the history shows when you look at WCW, the documentary we watched and all that. Like, obviously, they didn't get the sum of all the parts that they wanted, which affected things as well. But still, they could have done a better job on it. There's no doubt. 2007, at WWE Great American Bash in San Jose, California, John Cena retained the WWF Championship in the main event against Bobby Lashley, a man that we haven't spoken about this week. We were planning on speaking about it, but it hasn't developed yet to a full conversation yet. But apparently,
Yeah.
he's been removed from the internal roster. But we will talk about him
Yes.
next week when all is potentially confirmed.
Yeah, there's no point in speculation. We'll
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
MVP's not exactly been the greatest person in the world right now when it comes to professional wrestling, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can, Jordan. No problem at all. Absolutely. Um, 2002, Edge defeated Chris Jericho in the main event steel cage match at WWE SmackDown taping in Indianapolis, Indiana. Also, Hulk Hogan and The Rock beat the Un-Americans. Do you remember the Un-Americans? Christian and Lance Storm in a tag team action. There you go. I thought I'd bring that up as well. I thought it was a fun one. 2006, this one is for you, Daz. Look away now. Rey Mysterio's 3-month World Heavyweight Championship reign came to an end when when King Booker defeated Mysterio for the title in the main event of WWE's Great American Bash when Chavo Guerrero turned on Mysterio. This is the storyline we came out with, remember, with the whole thing of using Eddie's name and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was how would you describe it? Awkward.
Right. Okay. This
Awkward.
is something that I don't think we discussed when we was talking about the Wyatt Six. I don't want a repeat of Eddie Guerrero with Bray Wyatt, where Eddie's name gets mentioned in feuds just to kind of downplay him. Because obviously in that Batista and Rey Mysterio feud we had, the only thing I can remember from that is basically Batista saying Eddie's not in heaven, Eddie's in hell. Eddie's
Yeah.
dead. Get over it.
Yeah.
Like, it's heat and it's a lot of good heat, but it's just disrespectful in my opinion.
Yeah, sometimes they just push it in the wrong way too far, don't they?
Yeah, I feel like.
And it just feels very uncomfortable, doesn't it?
Yeah, and like obviously, if you're going for like using Batista again as an example, if you're going for that heat, then I suppose so, but the perfect way to do it, I feel like we've done with Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt Six, where it's been There's been vignettes about loss, especially Eric Rowan, and all this kind of thing. I
It's
feel like
tough.
that's the best way that they could have
Mm.
done his death and still have it relate,
Yeah,
instead of it just being like, oh, this person's dead, that person's dead, because you can kind of relate to the characters because everybody's experienced loss.
yeah,
So it's just one of
absolutely.
those things where I feel like Triple H has definitely done that a lot better than Vince did.
Mm. Yeah. Although Triple H has had his moments and going back to that kind of dark shenanigans as well. So yeah, he doesn't get. I'm a big Triple H fan. He's one of my favourites and all, but sometimes he doesn't get a pass. Certainly, he's doing a better job now. All right, he learned from his own mistakes. 2012, the 1000th episode of Monday Night Raw broadcast live from St. Louis in Missouri. Now that was such a milestone and it was brilliant, but it put us on a weird kind of path because it was a 3 hour format that was made permanent then in the
Yeah.
Hallmark edition. So, but it had 6 million viewers in the US alone, that 1000th episode. But it marked the beginning of 3 hours of Raw every Monday, which was rough, 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 rough. 2010, Tyler Black retained the ROH World Heavyweight Championship against Kevin Steen in the main event of ROH Salvation from Chicago Ridge, Illinois. I was at Chicago Ridge, Illinois for an ROH event. Rough old spot. Rough old spot. You wanna have your wits about you going to Chicago Ridge to watch ROH. 1986, Dusty Rhodes won the last of his 3 NWA World Championships when he beat Ric Flair in a steel cage match in Greensboro, North Carolina. Flair won the belt back 2 weeks later. But that was the last of Dusty's World Championships. 2009, WWE presented their Night of Champions pay-per-view at the Wachovia Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In the main event, Jeff Hardy defeated CM Punk to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Earlier in the night, Mickie James defeated Maurice for the WWE Divas Championship, and Christian won the ECW Championship from Tommy Dreamer. There you go. That rounds out your history. We have some notable birthdays to drop before we let you all go off the hook. Um, First of all, we have Fandango, 1987, or as Jericho would say, Fandingo Dango. Thunder Rosa, 1987. Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, Mr. WrestleMania himself, 1965. David Von Erich, 1958. Sadly, who has left us. Zack Sabre Jr., Mr. Technician himself, 1987. One half of the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins, near 1990. But a baby. The fabulous Tori Wilson, 1975. The Demon himself, Finn Balor, Judgment Day, 1981. And we rounded out with 1/3 or 1/4, if you like, of the Undisputed Era, Roderick Strong, 1983.
Wow.
That's your notable birthdays for this week. Jack, anything to add? Or sorry, Russ, I should say, anything to add? I have Jack on my mind. Jack's all over the chat here at the moment, so I just see Jack and Jordan there lighting it up.
It's alright, it's alright. I really hope that we do get more of the Bobby Lashley and thing going on, because I'm going to be honest, I've got quite some opinions about MVP and obviously his response to why the Hurt Business was disbanded. Aside from that, yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back next week and talking more pro wrestling.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week if there's any more releases and stuff like that. Yeah, MVP is kind of would be an obvious one because obviously he released some of the private conversations that was had with creative in relation to the Hurt Business and stuff like that. And also, that's never a good look when it happens, regardless of how it is treated.
Yeah.
Jordan's in Fandango, Niall, absolutely. You remember Fandango, Jordan? There we go. And Ian's in, of course, with the Road Warriors from World of Sport. A weekly statement now. Copy and paste. Copy and paste. That's it, folks, for Pro Wrestling Weekly this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back next week with our final push for SummerSlam. We'll be getting your predictions. We might even run a competition, Russ, and give away maybe a couple of shirts and baseball caps for predictions for SummerSlam next week. We'll see how it goes. I have some upper tier ones here. So we'll do something like that and have a bit of fun next week. But until next time, folks, if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to all the channels in the chat as well, folks. Show them your full support. Jordan is in there. Jack is in there. I think there was a few others were in there as well. If I've missed any, let me know. But until next time, folks, have a safe week. Enjoy Blood and Guts tonight if you're watching it. If not, if you're heading out like Russ to catch the new movie, Wolverine and... What is it, Wolverine and?
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Deadpool and Wolverine. There you go. I'm not a huge comic book fan, so I don't focus on them at times. If you're heading out to that, enjoy it. Have a safe week. And I'll be back tomorrow night at 9 o'clock with Dazzler. We'll be going through all the latest football news. But until then, I will talk to you again real soon. Cheers, Russ.
It's alright, no worries.